This is like the toughest spot that any movie's ever been in, period. Hey everybody, how's it going? My name's Terry, this is Terry's Nerd Stuff, and I cannot figure out the autofocus on my new camera, so please bear with it as I try to figure this out. Anyway, not 15-20 minutes ago, I got done watching Incredibles 2, and like I said in the cold open, it's probably the toughest spot that any movie I've ever seen has ever been in. This is seriously the Portal 2 of movies, that it has the most unfortunate position of being compared to its original version. And man does that suck, because without a doubt, The Incredibles is one of the most favorably looked upon Pixar movies, period. It exists in this perfect scope of retrospect and contemporary vision where it is praised overall. Like when you look back on it with the guise of how, with the vision of how popular superheroes are, The Incredibles holds up incredibly well as a superhero story with one of the most amazing superhero villains, period. But it also stands true as being one of the most heartwarming and satisfying family movies of all time. And not just a movie for families, a story about family. And it really sucks that The Incredibles 2 has to be compared to that. It really does. And I think The Incredibles 2 on its own stands up as a wonderful movie. Like an actual good movie. But it is not the first one. Not by a long shot. This is probably in my opinion, one of the weaker entries that Pixar has given us. I mean, it is not down there where the Cars movies are by any stretch, but I'm trying to separate myself from my feelings for the first one. I literally cannot. I think it's more or less impossible to even try, so I'm not going to. I hate that I have to do this, but most of this video is going to sound like I'm really bitching about this movie. So before I even get started in any of that, just know Incredibles 2 is a good movie. It is a good, fun watch. I had an enjoyable time, but I love the first one so much more. So much more. And I know I had 14 years to build up that love, but this did not strike me at all. It's a solid family movie, but the structure of the film just doesn't really work for the core dynamic that makes The Incredibles so good. The movie itself is very split. It is very split into two narratives that don't mesh very well. There are brief moments where the two stories connect, but they don't synergize. In the first one, of course I'm going to talk about the first one. In the first one, the stuff that happens with Bob really, really, really matters for the stuff that happens to the rest of the family. And in this one, it's just, tangential. It seems like the stuff that happened with Bob could have easily have happened off screen, and we could have spent the whole movie with Elastigirl. And once the kids and Jack and Mr. Incredible came in, all of it just... God, it really felt like an extended version of the Jack Attack short that was available on the Incredibles DVD. All the stuff with Bob was really... It didn't hit home. It didn't resonate. And I don't know if you can get blue balls from not crying at a Pixar movie, but I intend on going into a Pixar movie and get really emotionally crushed at least once, and it didn't happen. So by the end of it, I had this expectation to just let all of my liquids out of my eyes, and it didn't happen. So I couldn't get that good old Pixar cry. The visuals are wonderful. It looks so good. And I love how all the faces look a little bit more angular and a little bit more solid than they did in the first one. And of course they had over a decade to develop the technology and to get people to look way better than they did in the first one. But they look a little plasticky in a way that kind of reminds me of the Thunderbirds puppets, but also comic book like comic books at the same time. It was a wonderful mix, and the aesthetic looked really good, and it fit really well with this movie. I just wish everything else really held up to it. I really wish it meshed well, like those two kind of joining ideas. Plot-wise, the villain, yeah, I saw the villain coming, like, the moment, like, the earliest moment you can tell what's going on. I figured out what was going on, and more or less, the villain seemed like a very, very watered down Syndrome with the use of wonderful, incredible technology and intellect over abilities, and just an utter disdain for supers. And I think this villain tried to follow through with the utter destruction of supers as opposed to making themselves super. But God, everything about the first one did everything the second one did, but better. It hurts. It really hurts, and I've said this too many times in this video already. It hurts having to say this, because this is a good, solid Pixar entry, despite being like on the shallower end of this company's offerings. But having to like by necessity having to be compared to that first one, it doesn't hold up. It doesn't hold up with looking through that lens. And it hurts. I think this is where my Pixar cry is going to come in. Anyway, these are some of my initial ramblings on Incredibles 2. Despite what I've said in this video, I do like it. I do like the movie. But, but considering everything attached to it, the 14 years worth of build-up, the masterpiece that the first one is, it's good, but not as good as the original. That's all I can probably get out to articulate, and that's all. That's where I'm gonna leave it. If you watched The Incredibles 2 yet, let me know what you thought. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you didn't take all that stuff to heart that I did. The baby stuff was cute. The parenting stuff was good. Dash didn't really affect anything. I just realized that Dash did not matter at all in this movie. That's sad. Anyway, it's super late. I just got done watching this movie like the earliest possible time that I could, so I'm gonna go to bed. Because apparently I do all of these video reviews super duper late, and this is probably gonna be the first one of like the 6 that I've shot and failed to put up that it's actually gonna go up, because I stayed comprehensive the whole time. Anyway, I'm out of here. Have a good night. Have a good weekend, because this is Friday for me. And I will see you guys next time. Hopefully I can get back to it. Do more of this nice video stuff. It's been way too long. It's really like hurting me here. God. Yeah, I know it's really late because I'm rambling super hard. Bye.